David Heavy D. Sparks spent years in the public eye fighting legal battles, weathering a nationally televised lawsuit, and even filming a raw video from behind bars. Through all of it, his wife Ashley stood beside him, or so it seemed. Then, 5 months after David walked out of 3 days in solitary confinement, Ashley quietly filed for divorce in a Utah courthouse. No statement, no explanation, just legal paperwork and silence. After nearly 16 years together, 3 kids, and a life built around the Diesel Brothers brand, what actually pushed things to this point? And what, if anything, has Ashley said about it? On March 10th, 2026, Ashley Sparks filed for divorce from David. The paperwork gave no cause, and neither side released any kind of joint statement or public comment. It was a bare-bones filing, but the timing carried weight. What made the split stand out wasn't just who filed or the lack of explanation. It was a contrast in behavior. 5 months prior, David had posted a lengthy, emotional video defending himself after his arrest, clearly fired up and fighting. Ashley, by comparison, said nothing. She hadn't addressed the arrest or the ongoing legal turmoil at all. Her public silence, in hindsight, may have meant more than anyone realized at the time. Ashley has built her own online presence, with roughly 177,000 Instagram followers, where she used to regularly share glimpses of family life, honest takes on marriage, and moments from behind the Diesel Brothers curtain. But somewhere between David's October arrest and her March filing, those posts slowed to a stop. The divorce blindsided many longtime followers of the family. David and Ashley had married in August 2010, after 2 years of dating that began at a Utah church in 2008. All told, they'd been together for close to 16 years. 3 kids, 1 shared public identity, and now a court file. What is in that file, the real why, when things shifted what the final breaking point was, is exactly what's fueled ongoing speculation. Ashley was never just a background presence in the Diesel Brothers world. Even without a starring role on the show, she cultivated her own following separate from the series, using her platform for candid, personal reflections that felt more genuine than most reality-adjacent social media. In August 2021, marking their 11th anniversary, Ashley shared a post that got attention then and reads very differently now. She admitted that she used to say she loved everything about David, until she caught herself saying out of habit and laughed it off, realizing it wasn't quite true anymore. She called it refreshing to accept that no one and no marriage is flawless. She acknowledged they had their share of highs and lows, and that the key was choosing to dwell on the good. It was a warm, honest post. The kind written by someone deep enough into a long marriage to know real love isn't the same as the version that started it. She also spoke candidly about the small habits and quirks that annoyed each of them about the other, framing it simply. No couple loves every single thing about one another, and that's normal. What matters is effort and where you choose to focus your attention. That post stands out now, because it's essentially the last time Ashley spoke publicly about the state of their marriage, and it came during a relatively calm stretch. The show had already ended. The family was settled, and while the legal battle was ongoing, it hadn't yet escalated to an arrest. In 2021, her message was clear. The marriage was real, imperfect, but worth fighting for. The real question is what changed between that anniversary post and the day she walked into a courthouse. To understand this divorce, you have to understand what October 2025 looked like for the Sparks family. On October 7th, 2025, U.S. Marshals arrested 40-year-old David Sparks and booked him into Salt Lake County Jail. The arrest was civil, not criminal, tied to a contempt of court order stemming from a lawsuit filed back in 2017 by the nonprofit Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment against the Diesel Brothers. That original suit alleged David and co-defendants, including Joshua Stewart and affiliated companies, had illegally stripped pollution control equipment from diesel trucks, enabling rolling coal, and then sold those modified trucks as part of the television brand. In 2020, a federal judge ruled against them, ordering more than $851,000 in penalties and legal fees. David didn't pay in full, and by summer 2025 the situation had escalated. He was first held in contempt in June 2024, then again in August 2025 for allegedly transferring property in violation of the earlier order. After a judge determined he'd also failed to provide required financial disclosures, A bench warrant was issued on October 2nd. 5 days later, marshals arrested him. David spent about 2.5 days in solitary confinement, 23 hours a day alone in a cell, before being released following a stipulation to provide the outstanding disclosures within 10 days. The moment he was out, he posted a 30-minute video. He was composed but visibly shaken, insisting he hadn't been charged with any crime. This was a civil paperwork dispute, he argued, one he claimed had been exploited by attorneys turning environmental law into a profit engine. He spoke about his longtime accountant, who had died unexpectedly in December 2024, taking key financial records and passwords with her, records his legal team needed to comply with the court's demands. He said his team had offered the plaintiffs full access to his office, shop, home, and cabin, and that they declined. He described the solitary confinement as the worst experience of his life, saying it gave him new respect for anyone who'd served real prison time. What that video never mentioned was Ashley. She was absent from the entire public narrative surrounding the arrest, and she never spoke publicly about it herself. Many casual fans treated the 2017 lawsuit as background noise while the show and brand kept growing. In hindsight, it was something far more damaging. Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment argue the modified trucks emitted 30 to 40 times more pollution than stock diesel vehicles, claiming it took only a small fraction of vehicles like these to effectively double regional emissions, a genuine public health concern in their view. In 2020, Judge Robert Shelby ruled for plaintiffs, fining the defendants over $850,000 combined, banning future emissions tampering, and prohibiting sales of vehicles with disabled emission systems. On appeal, the 10th Circuit upheld most of the ruling in December 2021, notably describing the Diesel brothers' conduct as flagrant misconduct, though it did send a fine back for recalculation, which brought the number to roughly $843,000. A separate March 2021 ruling added another $928,000 in legal fees, pushing total exposure into the millions. David maintained publicly that the fines were wildly excessive, pointing out that the EPA itself hadn't pursued the case due to its scale, and argued that a relatively small number of trucks and parts were being valued, as if they caused over $114 million in damages. The plaintiff side pointed to court records showing David earned hundreds of thousands from his Discovery Channel deal, plus references to a helicopter, private planes, and a large custom home under construction, evidence the court used to reject claims that he couldn't afford to pay. By 2025, matters had reached a breaking point. 2 contempt findings, an improper property transfer, a deceased accountant holding critical records, and a federal judge who said the court had exhausted every other option before ordering an arrest. Meanwhile, the Discovery show had ended in 2020, though the YouTube channel remained active even as the business faced intense scrutiny, including a temporarily blocked liquidation sale of Sparks Motors in August 2025. Ashley never commented on the arrest, the lawsuit, or David's jailhouse video. Then, 5 months later, she filed for divorce, and that silence itself became the loudest statement she made. Years earlier, she'd been the one openly discussing realities of their marriage, acknowledging its hard parts without over-dramatizing them, framing long-term partnership as an ongoing choice rather than a permanent guarantee. In that same 2021 post, she noted,